Oh, it's cold. It's freezing in here. No. It's thick.
I'm always cold.
I am too. Yeah. I'm still- Yeah.
Yes, I met Raphael the other day.
Good.
They stopped by the house. Hope he and-
I forgot.
Raphael, you just make
Rodolfo, welcome. Are we good? Everyone ready? Hey, everybody, I'd like to call to order the Village of Biscayne Park Code Compliance Meeting of Wednesday, August 17th at 6:30. Efrain, if you would, call the roll. Here.
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 And good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of the Village of Biscayne Park Code Compliance Board. The board is authorized pursuant to Chapter 14 of the Village's Land Development Code to ensure compliance with the village's Code of Ordinances. The members of the board are citizens and residents of the Village of Biscayne Park. We volunteer our time and we are not paid for our services. The purpose of each hearing is to give any alleged violators the opportunity to contest the decision of the Code Compliance Officer, which resulted in the issuance of a notice of violation, and to determine whether a violation of the village's code has occurred or is occurring. We are not authorized to dismiss violations based on hardships, ignorance, or the fact that others may be guilty of the same violation. These hearings are conducted in a quasi-judicial manner. Our responsibility is to act much like a judge in a court, and that is to hear cases presented by the village's code compliance officers and to hear contradictory arguments presented by the alleged violators. We are not authorized to change the code. The Village Commission is solely authorized to enact or revise codes. Conversely, neither the commission nor the village manager have the authority to overrule the findings of the board. Pursuant to Chapter 162 of Florida statutes, orders of the board can only be appealed to the Circuit Court of Miami-Dade County. We have the authority to assess and order the payment of civil penalties, to issue orders having the force of law, to command whatever steps are necessary to bring a violation into compliance, and to assess administrative costs. In order to make a finding upholding the code compliance officer's decision, we must find that there is substantial competent evidence that the named violator was responsible for a violation of the relevant section of the code as charged. All participants are expected to conduct themselves in a civil and respectful manner. There shall be no comments made from the audience during the proceeding. If there is a disturbance or disorderly conduct during the meeting, the participants in the disturbance may be ordered to leave the room. The hearing will proceed in the order of the docket. The village will first present its case, and the board may request clarifications to fully understand the case. When you address the board, please state your name, your relationship to the property, whether you're contesting the violation, in which case you will have the opportunity to present your case. All documentary evidence presented by the parties must be submitted for placement in the hearing file. No documentary evidence will be considered unless the alleged violator or code compliance officer submits a copy for the hearing file. Each party shall have the right to call and examine witnesses, to introduce exhibits, to cross-examine opposing witnesses on any matter relevant to the issues, even though that matter was not covered in the direct examination, to impeach any witnesses regardless of which party first called them to testify, and to rebut the evidence against them. If you intend to address the board and have not signed in, please do so at the agenda sheet. Anyone wishing to address the board, please stand and raise your right hand so you may be sworn in. You are reminded that this board is a quasi-judicial board and giving false testimony can be penalized. Please, if anybody who's planning to give testimony, if you would stand and raise your right hand. We swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of the law. Thank you. Please be seated. We have Village Attorney Vicente with us tonight. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Hi,
Much
good evening.
appreciated. So the first case we need to hear is number 2 under old business, because that's what Valerie is specifically here for.
Okay, we're EEN 220019, and this is address 11703 Northeast 11th Place. Failure to remove bamboo fencing. Property owner is Charles Michael LaFruz out of 1181 Northeast 86th Street, Miami. This violation or this case was opened on 1/18/22 for a previous case, and notice of violation was issued at 1/31/2022. And here for a discussion regarding the bamboo fence.
Back in, when did we first hear this case? I believe it was February. We did give him a compliance date. He then came back with a signed permit. The signed permit, though, was for a wood fence. It was not, I'm sorry, let me back up. He was turned down at planning and zoning for chain link. He later reapplied for wood. His permit is for a wood fence that was approved by planning and zoning. But what's in our packet tonight, Efrain, is not a signed permit. This is a copy of a permit, but it's not a signed one. And my concern either way is that, yes, there is a permit, but there is a permit for something that does not exist. There is no wood fence. There is chain link covered in bamboo. So procedurally, that's why, Valerie, we asked you to be here. Now, is the homeowner here, or the property owner here? No, I'm not seeing him.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Or his mic's not on.
It was intermittent.
Mic check. Okay. Madam Chair, if I may, Mario Diaz, Village Manager for Biscayne Park. Although you may not have a signed permit in front of you, they were issued a permit for a wood fence at a later date, which should have been part of the backup and was forwarded to the committee several months ago with a letter asking for you all to take another look at the case. The village did. The code officer at the time, I believe his name was Mr. White.
Reggie White.
And so he issued another violation because it wasn't being installed as part of the fence per the permit, which was approved by planning. However, within a day, the code inspector, not the code, the building official went out and gave a approval of the permit and finalized and closed the permit. And so because the homeowner has a signed and inspected and approved permit from the village, we felt, and correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Attorney, we felt that it was prudent for you all to take that new information, which you didn't have at the first hearing, into consideration for the homeowner. So they do have an approved.
We don't have it.
It was sent to you months ago when looked for the reconsideration. I don't know why it's not in the backup.
I recall it, the gentleman had it that night. That was before.
No, this is coming from the village directly, not from the resident.
I don't recall ever getting it. No,
No.
that's not accurate. He
Okay.
came in, the gentleman came one night with it, but that was before we realized, and now we do because of.
Right, the
Valerie's
village
explanation
sent,
that
the village sent to the commission the letter requesting for the reconsideration based on the new information, and that new information was attached to that. We later, once the former board members resigned, we later sent that and discussed that as well. And that's when we were talking about trying to get the attorney here. I do apologize if you can maybe table this item for a few minutes while I go and reprint it, and I can provide it for.
Valerie, are you okay with that? Can you remain with us for a little while? And then we could maybe go to the next case, if you mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, board.
Sorry for the momentary. Well, actually, my fault. Also, we do have two things ahead. We have minutes from
Yes.
June 29 and July 27.
That's what I was gonna say. It was, needs to be, it's not on the agenda. I wanted to add that. Addition, the approval of the 2022.
Right, 29, and we'll add that to the addition. The agenda, June 27 and June 29. Have you folks all had the chance to read them?
Yes.
Can I make a motion to accept the minutes of June 29th and July 27th?
I'll second with the exception on July 27th minutes. The date for that, or the next
April to
next hearing,
August.
should- April the 17th. 17th. That was a clerical typo, I guess. And with that correction, I'll.
And since you'll be in there correcting them under item.
On the 27th?
July 27th, just two Scrivener's errors, change April to August. And then under 6D, I believe it is.
Same one?
910, yes, ma'am, 910, 121st,
I'm sorry, which number?
D, first page.
9-1.
where my name is spelled Janie, if we could just correct that. But you're in there anyway. Now we have a motion to approve with those Scrivener error changes. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
So both meeting minutes of June 29 and July 27 approved with two minor changes. Do we have any addition, while we're waiting, do we have any additions or deletions?
Oh, yes, I want on there, on discussion, it's number 7, discussion.
Okay.
Number 2, 1110 Northeast 119th Street. I has finally spoken to the property owner, and they want to table this to the next meeting because they stated that they haven't received any.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Table till September?
Yes.
Okay, then why don't we go to the next case, Ibrahim,
Sure.
if you would? That would be under 5, number 1, 910 121st Street.
I was, if I may, since the gentleman is here for the number 3, let's go to him first. That would be
Absolutely.
826 Northeast 121st Street, EEN 220383. I mean, technically, all this pertains to they were.
It would have been a little cumbersome, yes.
But I give you at least part of E3. Sorry?
This is E3, I mean 5-3.
5-3. That'll be,
Aren't they supposed to come back?
No, no.
Oh, now.
Yep.
so that would be again, EN 220383, 826 Northeast 121st Street. And this, he was told to appear before here to state what he was gonna do.
Right, he was, sir, if you would state your name and your relationship to the property, please?
My name is Hector Berrigan. I'm a licensed professional engineer, work with Hollywood Engineering Associates. And we were retained by the owner to try and seek some resolution to this issue of the apartments at 826 Northeast 121st Street. So I would like to state that I talked to the owner several times, and she's interested in completely rehabilitating the property. And
I'm sorry, she's interested in,
in rehabilitating the property. And for that purpose, she retained the services of an engineering company called ASD Engineers. And the plans were submitted, I understand, so in 2019 or something like that. And I have a copy of the plans if you just want to see.
so if I may stop you for a minute, though. Back in June,
Yes,
when you folks first appeared in front of us, you were given a deadline of today to have gone in front of planning and zoning, to have submitted plans. Ibrahim, have they been in front of planning and zoning in the 2 months?
Not yet.
That, sir, is a problem, because while I understand and respect the complexity of this case, fact is there were 2 months, which means there were 4 planning and zoning meetings that you could have essentially got the process in gear. And according to the code officer, sir, you've not been there.
that is correct.
So before we
And
go further. we do have-
Unfortunately, since we entered so late into the mix, we were under the impression that we were supposed to attend this meeting. I wasn't aware of the request to attend the zoning meeting. I understand.
When we had the June meeting, sir, we made it very clear that you were to come back with a plan, a solid assessment of what you were going to do going forward, and that would have necessitated going to planning and zoning for approval and proper channels of how to get things accomplished and what needed to happen. And would have been 4 meetings over the course of 2 months, and it didn't happen.
Truly apologize.
Okay, I'm just saying, I just give him, I mean, for me, the benefit of doubt, him and his partner did come to our office, to meet with me, show me all the stuff that, discuss what they plan on doing in the future, and that really, I mean, again, they should have gone to planning and zoning with.
Right.
Right, so, but they've sat with me and in the past, well, we've had so many issues from the past.
Sure.
We're only looking at going forward. How we can repair that property, but part of it is going to planning and zoning and somebody.
Well, and there was the deadline of today. If
Yes.
not, the
The
daily fine does increase as of tomorrow. We're all aware of that, that the daily fine will increase by $25 as of tomorrow to a $35 daily fine. Gail,
Could you
what-
give us a recap on, in June, because I was trying to find of course, I took all my minutes from that, I mean, of what we actually discussed that I'd written down, left it at home. So I was looking through. In June, we did assess a fine and a daily fine if no compliance
By today,
by today.
correct. That it would, the daily fine would then go from $10 a day to 35. It would increase by $25.
There's already an existing.
So that needs to happen. Other questions from the rest of the board?
No.
Okay,
My questions aren't for there. It's like I mean, I know we don't know where we are as far as
Exactly.
for us. It hasn't gone to P and Z.
exactly.
There's a wish to rehabilitate the building or restore the building.
Right.
However, it hasn't happened in years. So,
I'd like to perhaps consider trying this a bit of a different way. Let's take a look. I'd like to give them a deadline to at least to prepare a proper plan to appear in front of planning and zoning. Back off a little from what I said the last time. Let's go with a proper plan in front of planning and zoning, give them a deadline of September 28th. So can you meet a deadline of September 28th to
Yes,
be
ma'am.
prepared?
Absolutely.
Now, I'm saying September 28th, by then to have been in front of planning and zoning and to be ready on the 28th, because that's our next meeting.
Correct.
To come back and report to us. Can you do that,
Absolutely.
sir?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Now, so if I may, if anybody else, any other questions?
Well, no, is your motion would also include that if failure to do?
You're
so,
right. I
the
just
the
didn't want to
daily
go
fine?
further in
Okay,
case anybody else had any questions.
No.
Okay, my motion would be then by September 28th to have appeared in front of planning and zoning to begin formulating your plans for you just said you want to rehab that property.
Correct.
To begin formulating those plans, report back to us on the 28th. If all of that does not occur, then your daily fine will go to $100. That's my motion. All they have to do is get it going, get started, get in front of P and Z.
Right. well, I'll second it for discussion because I was going to suggest that the daily fine would revert back to what we originally said as of today. That would be $35 continuous, but a daily fine
You want
might
to
be,
keep it at 35.
well, it would commence today. If they failed to comply go before planning and zoning by September the 28th, the daily fine would have initiated effective tomorrow of 25. of
Okay,
$35.
I appreciate.
I mean,
what you're
because
saying.
we're basically
Giving them another-
granting an extension with
I
the
got you.
stipulation that it would be done.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
That way it's in agreement with what we had previously ordered. It's just granting an extension. But if they fail to do that by the 28th, then the daily fine would have commenced
35.
tomorrow at 35.
That I will make that amendment that by the 28th to have appeared in front of planning and zoning, to begin formulating your rehab plans, report back to us on the 28th.
Absolutely.
If all of that doesn't occur, then your daily fine reverts back starting tomorrow at $35 a day. So effectively, as Dale explained, it's an extension.
I
I'll
appreciate the
Right, sir?
opportunity. Thank you so much.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a first, a second, approved for nothing to give them the extension until September 28th. If that doesn't come into play, the daily fine starts tomorrow at 35.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
The attorney?
So, yes, we do indeed have a signed permit, but again, it goes back to, I guess, my question still remains, and this is why I was so hoping the property owner would have been here. Yes, we have a signed permit. We have a signed permit for something that in fact does not exist. We have a signed permit for a wood fence. We have a chain link covered in bamboo. My question to the village attorney, what takes precedence? Yes, in a normal world, this would be it. But since this is effectively for something not in existence, does it take precedence over the code issue?
Right, so essentially what the person is raising is a defense. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Can you
Yes,
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So my understanding procedurally is that he'd already been before the board. After the fact, he comes to the village and essentially it's almost like an appeal, and he came within the time frame of an appeal and says, I have this new evidence to show that this was properly permitted. So based on that, we said, okay, if you're within the time frame to appeal, let's bring it, in front of the board for a rehearing for them to consider. This is just a defense that he's presenting. You guys within your purview as the board have make the determination of whether or not to accept that defense or not. And essentially, its defense is one of equitable estoppel. He's saying, listen, I received a permit, I relied on that permit, and I've incurred some expense, and it would be unequitable or unjust for you guys to now cite me for this when I've relied in good faith on that permit. That is just a defense for you to consider and to weigh. That's a decision that you have to make as a board. You are absolutely entitled to consider, what predates that, if the fact before that he applied for a wood fence and was approved for a wood fence, but later installed a chain link fence, that is a factor that you can consider in weighing his defense. But ultimately it's your decision as a board, just understanding that he has raised his defense and you must consider that defense in making a decision.
Thank you. That helps. Question.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't direct you and tell you what to do. You guys would just have to understand that this is the defense that has been alleged. You can consider what you've already raised, which is the fact that he was already told, I guess, previously by planning that he was not permitted to have a chain link, and that he was to build a wood fence, but nevertheless built the chain link and was in fact approved.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's proof that the village subsequently approved it. But those are all the factors that you can consider on whether or not to accept his defense.
Gail?
No, I was hoping for a better answer that we could just go ahead and because it was, the inspector may have erred in signing off on these
No, it really,
permit.
if I understand correctly, and please forgive me if I'm paraphrasing, it really comes back to our take on the evidence the city presents.
Both on the evidence the city has presented, and also now the defense that he has raised. Right, so he's entitled to his due process. He has now raised a defense that he would like the board to consider. He's now presented supplemental evidence in support of his defense. And so today's hearing is merely for you to reconsider your decision based on this newly found evidence. I can't tell you, how to, or direct you how to do that. That is, as a quasi judicial board, that's within your purview. And for you to discuss amongst your colleagues on how you want to handle the defense that he's raised.
Thank you. Okay, discussion from the board.
Discussion. Well, I understand what is said, and I see where the fence that was installed was not the fence that was granted by planning and zoning. They specifically said a wood fence. The permit says a wood fence. However, our inspector signed off on a chain link fence and approved it in 2013. And it wasn't until 2022 that it became an issue and a violation was done. Given that, I'm prone to, while I don't like it, the fact that it is a signed permit and we as residents rely on our officials to.
Actually, I think you said something that bothers me even more, and that's the fact that it took 9 years
Correct.
to get caught.
And
And I hadn't thought of it with that perspective and that, because you know how I feel. I feel this is a signed permit for something that isn't there. And I'm concerned about the structural integrity of what's there, but you make a very good point.
And I don't particularly like the bamboo on it. I think, we The bamboo is, to me, better than the chain link fence. However, it's only well,
And
I
the
don't know
chain
what was
link,
approved.
the chain link is also not permitted there.
No longer.
Right.
If this had been 6 months after the fact,
Agreed.
up to a year maybe after the fact, but it has been from
Talking-
2013
Yeah, we're talking 9 years.
until now. I find
Now,
it.
the one thing we could make the caveat is that when the bamboo deteriorates 50%, it must be removed and not replaced. Remember, we've done that.
I think that's a good
Mhm.
idea.
If you would take a friendly amendment.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that we find that a violation had occurred and that, and I want to phrase it, a violation had occurred. However, in accordance to our codes on case number EEN 22-19, a chain link with bamboo was installed when the permit called for a wood fence. However, it was signed off by an official of the village, and that should the bamboo come into 50% disrepair, it must be removed in its entirety, along with the chain link.
And not replaced.
And not replaced, yes. Well, both, the entirety, the chain link and
Chain
the,
link also, I will second that. So we have a first and a second for allowing it to remain as it is now, but a violation has occurred. When the bamboo deteriorates 50%, both the bamboo and the chain link must be removed and not replaced with bamboo and chain link.
just bamboo and or the chain link is in 50% disrepair. The entirety must be removed.
Okay. All right, we have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. I want to make sure that I understand. So currently can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna if you find that a violation has occurred, wouldn't the order include a fine?
Not-
That's what's a little bit
Necessarily.
confusing.
Not
Not
necessarily.
necessarily, Valerie, because again, we can't say there isn't a violation because technically there is. Well, technically there is one. I mean, it shouldn't be there. Yet the city bears responsibility for the fact that it's there because it was a city official who signed off on it. So can we, under those particular circumstances, fine the property owner?
Not really fine him, but sit there and request that it removed in it. I mean, should it become in disrepair to have it removed in its entirety? I mean, if we don't find it in violation, then
Right. we
authority
can't say
gives
that,
us to have it
exactly.
removed in its entirety, should it become
It-
50%
Exactly.
disrepair.
Dale makes a good point. If we don't say there's a violation, then we have no right to add the caveat that should either the chain link or the bamboo go into 50% or more deterioration, they both have to come down.
Okay. Okay,
Does that make sense from a legal perspective?
yes.
Thank you. Okay, so let me, if I may, Dale.
Sure.
paraphrase it Again, a violation has occurred. We will allow it to remain standing because it was a signed off on permit. Should either the chain link or the bamboo go into 50% deterioration, both must be removed and not replaced with bamboo or chain link.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, we have a first, second, and again, all in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Valerie, thank you very much. Much appreciated you taking the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone in the audience for your patience tonight. Thank you all. Yeah, we should take the other, bear with me just a second. Sure. Okay, I apologize. Go, yes, please, the other
Yeah,
note.
5-3, I'm sorry, 5, one on the agenda, that would be, EEN 220524. Address number is 910 Northeast 121st Street. This was, heard in last, hearing, is unpermitted bathroom efficiency. Mr. Mark Seaver, the property owner, if I recall, he had a couple of things that he had to do, provide proof that it was built, so that was intention.
Mhm.
Also, allow, me
To
to
inspect.
inspection.
Mhm.
He did neither.
Right, because I was looking through the documentation and I didn't see where there was.
Right. I
'cause he
mean,
was
I went
looking-
back and the only thing we had was from last month,
Mhm.
but there's nothing new showing permitting or
No,
anything
nothing.
like that.
And when we looked through the village file, did we have an opportunity to look through the village file to see where the prior permit had been pulled?
I made an attempt and, but he was supposed to, I told him, call me the next day
Right.
to, get an inspection, because, rule of thumb, he has 3 units. Which was,
Oh, he has 2 units.
2 units.
One is a legal unit.
No.
The third one is
that's
illegal.
Illegal, so there's 3 bathrooms in there.
And he was, from what I remember, he was adamant he had the documentation and
Right.
the
Yes.
renderings that he submitted to the village when he did the restoration of the property.
Right.
So did we even look to see if,
I try to find, see whatever I can find, but there.
I mean, was there a permit for restoration of,
No,
restoration of that property?
no. That was not.
Okay.
So again, he didn't, contact me to do an inspection.
So what we don't know, because of you not being allowed to do the inspection, is plumbing, electric, structural. We don't know how much.
Right. What we have is the pictures that.
Yeah, no, we did have them from last month. I mean, I have a problem with constantly kicking this down the road.
I don't
Right.
have a problem not hearing it, making some type of ruling tonight.
Good.
I mean, what's the purpose, what is service to, if in our last hearing, he was advised needed to be this hearing, I'm assuming that notice was sent out that we had a hearing tonight and he was to be
Yes,
present.
yes, it was.
From what my recollection was, he was to provide the village with the permit that he had applied for and received and signed off on at the last meeting. If you're
Only
saying,
I can also state is that he did pay for the fines that were issued to him.
that has nothing to do with
I
this,
don't know,
with
it
the
has
bathroom.
He
We're-
had a s- he- Since he was here, it wasn't an
Oh,
intermediary.
Right, but was stating that he's aware. He came to the
Right.
office and paid what he needed to from
Right.
the other cases, and it did nothing with these.
So we're just looking at, to me, a plumbing issue because while you say electrical, there's no, I mean, you can put in a bathroom, a toilet and not really mess with the
Right,
electrical.
Agreed.
So. And just from my understanding, that you did check to see if we could find where some type of permit or had been applied
Yes, I
for.
did.
Okay. All right. I'd like to make a motion that in case number EEN 22-524, that for an unpermitted bathroom, that a violation had occurred, that's a fine of $1,000 and to apply for a permit within 30 days.
We should always give him a deadline.
Extra. Okay. I don't know when code and P and Z meets.
P&Z is-
I'd like to do it after the
with me.
second one.
They just had one Monday.
Had one this past Monday. Here. September 16th should work.
Okay.
2 more meetings.
All right. And to have applied to P and Z, and applied to P and Z for a permit and have a permit pulled by September the 17th If not, assess a daily fine of $3.
Okay. I'll second that.
You want the permit pulled by the 17th? They won't get it pulled by the 17th. I'm going to the meeting on the 17th.
Well, how many meetings is that? Isn't that 3?
Well, the 16th would actually be fine because that's a Friday. 17th is a Saturday. So the 16th would work.
No, but I'm saying that just because they go to P and Z doesn't mean they're going to get their
Yeah,
permit.
but that's 2 meetings they'd have. And if they need an extension, they can ask for an extension. But I feel like they didn't come forward and do what needed to be done this time. We have to give a tighter deadline. Because you figure there's going to be a P and Z on the 28th and on the 11th.
The 28th is. I
I'm
believe-
sorry, 29th, I apologize. 29th is. the Monday.
29th, the 11th, and then the third one would be on the 16th.
No, the third one would then, I'm sorry, the 29th, the 12th, the third one would be on the 26th.
Chairwoman, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mario. The P and Z meeting on the 29th is not hearing any plans or any applications. It's for policy discussion only.
Okay, so
So that gives
fine.
them the 22nd.
why don't, I'll amend mine to say till September the 30th. That should
Okay.
be sufficient time
Okay,
for something, but the fine is $1,000. And if not, if they do not have a permit pulled by October the 1st, a $20 per day fine thereafter. So
so it's October.
comply by September the 30th.
It's October 1 to pull the permit. So I'll second that. So we have a first and a second for an October 1 deadline for permitting, $1,000 fine. If not permitted by October 1st, a $20 daily fine. And double permit fee, Dale?
Yes.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, on the new business, 6, we're gonna 6A, EEN 220490. That would be,
Are any of these folks here?
oh, yeah, you know what, you're absolutely.
Kind of
right.
because of the, having Valerie and wanting to deal with that issue first, we kind of got off our track of where we want to take the folks who are here first.
Absolutely right. So we're gonna go on by those who are here. So I have on the 907, 909 Northeast 111th Street. Anybody here? Okay, so that would be. Okay, so that would be case number EN 220522. Property address 907, 909 Northeast 111th Street, roofing without permit. Justin Andino and Xiomara Andino. And the property, the violation was observed 7/11/22. Notice of violation was issued. And I don't know, permits, this date is, it's no permits were issued, so.
Sir, if you would, I need you to speak into the microphone and pull it up if you need to.
But shouldn't we be asking questions first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Code
Yes.
officer?
I observed, of course, as per the pictures, the roofing was being done. I wired and looked at it, and I received findings.
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to go by? What's the status of the roof now? Was it just removed? This was removed?
It was,
or-
well, as of, I have, I believe, that's the only thing that the roof had been corrected.
No, no, I think
All right,
so.
and- Okay, just a couple more questions. And to your knowledge, as of today, there's been no permit?
From what
pulled?
I've seen, from what I've. But again,
Sir, if you would state your name and your relationship to the property.
Jason Andino, partial owner of the property. So the permit was recently approved last Monday. We're still waiting on structural. Apparently, when it was sent to, I believe it's structural last Friday, it was denied due to the NOA being expired. When I reached out to the roofing company, they stated that the NOA was not expired, but the company had changed ownership and names. They resubmitted the new documentation with the new names via email 3 times to structural as well as EPSI. They CC'd SP just in case, so there's multiple people receiving the same documents for backup. I also sent it out again today. We still haven't heard anything back from structural, but the permit itself was approved last Monday. The reason the roof was removed, that was an issue on the roofing company. They took it upon themselves to begin the removal because of a scheduling issue on their behalf. I didn't know they were removing the roof until the owner of the roof called me and tells me, hey, code enforcement is in front of your house, leaving a fine on your door. I live next door. I rushed out, got the fine. Within 30 minutes of the fine being given, everything was stopped. Within 2 hours, everybody was off the property and all the garbage was picked up. I came here. They explained what the fine was for. Nothing has been done to the house since because we're still waiting on structural. So the pictures that you see, the roof is exactly like that as we speak right now. Nothing has been touched since that point.
Over there recently.
No, I have not.
It's in the same, if he has a chance tomorrow, whatever, it's in the same, nothing has changed. The way those pictures were taken.
So if
everything was cleaned
I'm
up.
sorry, sir. If I'm understanding you correctly, there was a licensing naming issue with the company or
No,
they
no,
were
so,
pulling it?
so the first, are we talking about the just last week?
Mhm.
So this past week, everything was submitted and the permit was approved, but I guess they had to wait for structural to give
Structural,
the final
yeah.
stamp.
I just had a re-roof. I
Right.
know.
So when they submitted that to structural, I believe they denied it. And when I asked why, they said the NOA was expired by about 3 days. So I sent that information over to the roofing company. They called me back and they said, no, it's not expired. The company changed ownership 3 days ago.
Okay.
So now
That's
there's
what
a
I
new
thought I
name, new
understood you to
information. So
say.
I said, okay, well, you need to submit that to them because they're stating that this is it's expired. They submitted it the same day. I think was last week, Friday last week, they submitted it. And today they submitted it again. We still haven't heard back from structure. So 3 emails already been sent with the new documentation that they need to give the final stamp of approval, but we haven't heard back from them
He
yet.
doesn't have the permit yet.
Wait a minute.
No.
No, but this was, just for clarification, this was all done after the fact.
Right, so you
Yes,
haven't,
yes,
Right.
yes.
so you have not received your permit yet.
No, that's what we're waiting. The
Okay,
permit
so
was
I wanna make
approved on
sure.
Monday, where we're just waiting for structural. But in fact, in reference to the roof being removed, I'm fully aware of that. I spoke to the owner of the roofing company. I told them any fines imposed, whatever I'm passing it on to them, and they said that they take full responsibility and they're gonna cover them.
Being as it's after the fact, I mean,
I mean, I've listened to, ready, I will make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that a violation did occur. In addition to the double permit fee, assess a fine of $100. If the permit is not pulled within 15 days, what's the
Let's
date?
give him a
Today is the 18th.
But
today is the 17th.
All right, by September the 1st, assess a daily fine of $10.
now, quick question. Because you said if the permit is not pulled within that certain time, we just came back from the meeting on Monday, the permit was approved. We're just waiting for structural.
Right, so you should have
just to give
plenty
us
of
the stamp.
time. Yeah,
You should be
Yeah.
fine, sir.
if you don't have it, you can always ask for come back and ask for
Yeah.
an extension.
Okay,
That's fine. It's just
You're
that,
so far along, you should not have an issue having it by the 1st. If
Right. we're just,
things happen,
we don't
come
even
back.
know why we haven't heard back yet. Nobody's, when we call the front desk, they tell us they'll get back to. So as of this moment, and I have the emails on my phone to show how many times we sent the same repetitive email to SB as well as whoever's in charge of structural. Nobody's responding to it.
It hasn't come back from structure yet, possibly.
It's been over a week.
And
I don't know how many times. they
Sometimes
meet or
it
how
takes
often I've been
longer.
here.
Sometimes structure takes several weeks.
So,
no, but
okay,
he's
so
already
if
started
it takes several weeks, how will I have it ready within 15 days?
So
I was just trying, I mean, you're up there. You, once again, can always ask for an extension if you don't have your
Right.
permit. It's just to make sure that you get your permit.
Yeah.
Main thing is that it's a double permit fee that you'll be paying. I mean, we don't even have to say that. That's just a given. And the fine was $100 fine. It's just to help you facilitate talking to the village to get your fine. I have no problems. I would amend to the September the 10th. That gives an additional 10 days.
Well, considering Yeah, and having just gone through a re-roof, let's make it September 9th. That's a Friday.
Okay, till September the 9th.
So $100 fine, double permit fee, fine, excuse me,
Pull the
permit to be pulled by September 9, or else a $10 daily.
I'll second
It's
it.
on the 10th.
Do I
No.
get that correct?
I'm sorry. If by any chance, by September 9th, we still haven't heard back from structural, we've done everything. about
Talk
it.
to Efrain
And ask for an
and
extension.
ask for an
Okay,
extension.
so. Because my
Sir, it
concern is
happens-
getting hit with a fine for something that I have no
No.
control
No, no,
over.
no, no.
Reading on the-
Listen,
No.
the whole thing is to communicate with the village and with
Right.
Efrain if you don't have your permit. Because I know, but I don't think you were sworn in,
Yeah,
so you might want to go through,
Yeah, okay.
Mr.
yeah, yeah.
Adino. So right now, you're looking at $100 fine. And if you have a problem obtaining the permit after you've already done all this, you speak to Efrain. If you need additional time, you'd ask for an extension, but it's to set something, because if you don't communicate with him and you don't have it, then the fine will start to accrue. All right?
I'll second
So-
the motion.
We have a motion and a second for $100 fine, the double permit fee, permit to be pulled by September 9th, or a $10 daily fine. We have a motion from Dale, a second from Linda, all in favor,
Aye.
or nothing?
Quick question,
Thank-
where
thank
do
you,
I,
sir.
where do I get the fine? Because I want to present that documentation to the roofing company so they
Ah,
can
right.
reimburse. Since,
Efrain, should he
Yeah,
say
yeah.
you?
What we'll do
Yes.
is we'll get you something.
okay, so
Come to the office if you want to come by tomorrow.
Don't you have to sign off?
No, he had to
first?
sign.
Yeah.
It won't be tomorrow.
want to wait a
because we have
couple
sign
days.
the-
I have to
Orders
send
of
in
enforcement.
orders of enforcement. That's right, sir. I apologize. It won't be until next week because there's what's called an order of enforcement that goes with each case. I have to first sign it so that you formally have paperwork to prove, your point. And I appreciate you're trying to do the right thing quickly. Yes, sir. Of course.
You'll have an,
No, sir, you will have documentation, I promise. They should know better.
Nope.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Have a
much.
good one. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
did we vote?
6C, that would be 978 Northeast 115th Street.
I can't hear.
Oh.
Did we vote?
Oh, yeah. Which one are we-
Okay, that would be 6C, EEN 220517, 978 Northeast 115th Street. This is for a boat storage on front driveway. We have a mailing address on file, Russell Eric Katzman. It was, this case was open on 7/5/22. There was a previous case on 5/6/2021. A notice of violation was issued on
I'm sorry, what number?
7/5/2022.
May I ask a question? You said the previous case, was that a boat storage violation? So the same thing? And we found them in violation. at
Well,
that time?
there was I believe a notice of violation was issued, and I'm sorry, a courtesy notice, but it was removed.
So
The
it
first
was
one, we
just,
never heard the first one?
No.
so it was just a citation, a courtesy notice.
Yeah, we never heard that one. So this is essentially not a
Not really.
okay.
Okay, so this is the first time it's brought before us, but property owner has been notified.
Ma'am, if you wouldn't mind, state your name and your relationship to the property.
My name is Stephanie Macias, and I am one of the owners. Me and my husband are owners of the house. I just want to clarify that the owner defendant, Russell Eric Katzman, those are the previous owners of the home. So that's not anything to do with me. I think it's just an error. I did have the boat. Just to clarify the name. So I don't know if that
The problem
matters.
is, unfortunately, sometimes the property appraisal, how long have you had the house?
We moved in 2020.
2020, okay.
Yeah.
You're the owner?
Yeah.
And it hasn't changed in the records?
We don't.
I gotta-
get-
I gotta check it.
we don't
Yeah,
get
my
any-
husband is Pedro Garcia.
Someone gets excited.
Because I thought so. I thought he had moved
Oh,
from
yeah,
Wyoming.
well, that's-
Katzmans
let's
are in
just say, like,
California.
every property appraisals.
Okay.
So, but again, the boat,
Yes, so we have a boat. And unfortunately, last minute, we had to get it out of where we were storing it for the past 10 years. We last minute brought it onto our property. I am aware we cannot have a boat. It was a very last minute emergency situation and we immediately looked for a solution. I received a warning. I don't remember the day that I received the warning. I think I even tried to call you to talk with you about it because I thought I was going to need more time. And I actually solved the problem. And the very next day that I received the warning, the boat was gone. I took it somewhere else. So I don't know, what happens now, but it was removed immediately after I received that warning.
Is it still in violation?
no,
No.
no.
I'm sorry. I missed that. I
No,
apologize.
it's not. The thing is, I mean, I'm understanding that I've issued at that location for previous
Right.
votes.
To us?
No,
Oh,
thing
okay.
is, a case, when it's a case, it's good for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've gone and issued for a boat and you move in and then you have a boat, then technically, well, it's a new owner, but technically the same violation. So,
Okay.
Well, Efren, if the courtesy notice was 5/6/2021, that was with the new owner.
Right.
right,
So we're looking at, notice had been issued.
yeah,
before.
but as
But you're
as she's
saying-
stating.
But
as
I
you
never
were-
had my boat on my
Before,
property
at all?
before, ever. No, because we had it in the water. No.
Oh, there was a previous case, so, yeah, 5/6/2021. So you were. been there
I've
since
never
2020.
had to have my boat on my property. This was the first time that I ever even took my boat out of the water. So I don't know what that was
I
for.
should have brought the other picture.
There's a violation for a watercraft? For a-
Yes,
Not a violation. There had been a courtesy
Courtesy
notice
notice.
provided previously. Is what.
right.
Not for a boat, no. We did, when we first moved in, I moved in during the pandemic, it's February of 2020. When we moved in, we did have a camper on our property for one night. My brother-in-law came and put his camper, but I mean, the next day he was gone. So maybe, is that
No, because
possibly?
that would be a different violation.
Okay, so then no, I've
Just
never
for
had,
education, anything like that, call the village ahead of time and just
okay,
maybe speak to them about what your needs are
okay,
so that we can.
Very
avoid-
accommodates.
okay. Thank you.
We ready for a motion?
No. It's in accordance to our code. A violation did occur. And given and it has since, let me start over. In case number EEN 22-577, violation did occur. The property owner has since complied, has been cooperative with the village, and I would like to normal fine, $75 modest fine of $50.
I would second that. So I have a first and a second for $50 fine, close the case when paid. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
You'll go tomorrow, or anytime this week. Okay.
Bring
Have a
your
nice day.
credit card.
Or
What's the next one?
110? Okay.
What's the number, please? I can't hear. so it's not-
5A, I'm sorry,
Ah.
6F.
110,
Yes.
110,
What number?
119. 6F, 119th Street.
Okay, it's under agenda item 6F, EN 220562, 1110 Northeast 119th Street, auto mechanic on property owner co-orator Protectio Land Trust. This violation was opened on 7/29/2022. That is for the auto mechanic being conducted on property. Notice of violation was issued on 7/9/2022. And as per the pictures, you can see was
Mhm.
substantial.
I see, yeah, I see. You said the notice was on 7/29, but I see pictures from 7/25. But the notice was given on 7/29.
Yes.
Courtesy notice,
No.
Notice
that
of
doesn't- it
violation.
doesn't-
it's a notice of violation.
Mhm.
That's not a courtesy notice.
And as far as you said violations corrected, so.
Yes, it has been.
Questions? Sir, if you would identify yourself and your relationship to the property.
My name is Diego Arborio. I'm a rent the property.
It's
So,
what?
The rent.
Renter, I know. And sir,
no,
you're,
we're thinking it was a normal repair,
If you could
simple
mic up.
repair.
pull the mic up. You can hold it.
Thinking that will be a simple repair, but we broken a piece when I take it off the wheels. And then to find the pieces take like 2-3 days to pull back on the car. So I have the car lifted in 2 jackets and take a couple of days to put it back.
The pictures say a lot, sir, and it was really particularly extensive. Just under our code, that kind of repair work is not permitted.
Yeah, I know. We think it was a simple repair, but we have a problem when they take it off the piece, and then problem to find the proper piece and can move the car. So, but
Anything else? Okay, I'll make a motion.
All right.
All right, the case EEN 22-0562, a violation has occurred. They have since come into compliance. Assess a $100 fine, close the case when paid.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, sir.
thank you. Good night.
Go back. Okay, so let's go to back. So that'll be a 6A. Yes, EEN 220490, 451 Northeast 119th Street. It's for expired driveway permit. And they no permits have been obtained.
I had questions.
Yeah, I was
I know,
gonna ask one too.
There is no code violation. If he goes, once he puts in a driveway, then we'll have a violation, because right now he just doesn't have he has no permit.
There's,
So it's just, and there is no driveway.
there is no proof of work. I mean,
Yeah. So it's just nothing for us to do. I mean,
I was gonna say the same thing. There,
when they go to put in the driveway,
There's-
then
they
he'll
chose
have
to get a
Right.
permit and pay
Yeah.
for it and not do anything. That's
They
on
either-
them.
I think, no, this is, by the time they put in the driveway, it will have already been over.
Yeah, it expired in May.
May, so it'll be May, no.
Yeah. I mean, if they chose to
thought
pay
it
for a
was-
permit and not do anything, but there's no proof they did anything.
So
Motion to dismiss?
motion to dismiss, well, yeah, dismiss. Yes, second.
Motion is second to dismiss. All in favor?
Aye.
Or nothing?
Six D1. That would be 1106 Northeast 118th Street.
Sorry, wait, 6E?
61.
Be like dog.
118th Street.
It'll be EN 220503. Again, it's 1106 Northeast 118th Street. Under property owner 1106 Northeast 118th Street, 118th Avenue LLC. That's for failing to maintain construction safety fence. And this is one of our problem child.
Do we know, Efrain, how many total violations? of
Well,
this type
I've issued many. I put
That's
down,
many.
there's on 5/3/2021, EN 210593, and 6/10/2022, EN 220462, and there's another one 6/24/22. So there's several.
I mean, look
Oh,
at
no,
these
and-
pictures.
and
This is,
Yeah,
forget eyesore. This is a danger.
safety issue.
This is huge.
Yes. This is an old case, remember, this is
No,
from,
no,
but I just issued 5 more violations.
No, I happen to be by because I have a friend who lives right over there, and I know other people live around there. But yes, it basically looks like this with a partial fence right in the front,
Mhm.
and on the sides, from the house, it extends out a fence, but that has nothing to do with
No.
construction that's going on in the
Not
front.
only that, but they don't even usually close those site fences.
No, they never close. right.
Well, I'm only going by what I saw and then what's pictured, but I do have a question, on these prior citations. Did they come before us? Did it see the EENs? Okay, so this is the third. And have they been paid, the previous ones? And are they for the same issue? Because if we have an outstanding citation already and a fine and a daily fee for this issue,
Well, this one is technically just maintain the construction fence, remember? I mean, we have another one will be, well, and then the next one is for the same thing also. So
Then we have those
I
five.
have, probably in the next meeting, we'll have everything up. Okay. So we don't even discuss that now, but
so this is just for the failure of maintaining.
they're
the fence.
maintaining. it.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion.
If you want to, I'll make one.
In case EEN 220503 violation has occurred, I would assess a $1,000 fine. Give them until 8/26 to come into compliance, only because it takes time for the notice of enforcement. And if they're not in compliance by 8/26, a 100.
Come to the same conclusion, given the gravity of this,
It's
ongoing,
enough.
the length it has been going on. And it appears that our,
I mean, we're not seeing improvement at all. It's one thing, things happen, but they happen over and over again, and we're seeing no improvement. This is serious safety. There are kids who live in that area. Okay, we have a first and a second for $1,000 fine, an 8/26 compliance date, and a $100 daily fine after that if they're not in compliance. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
62 is EN 220462, maintaining construction fence with expired permit. This is regarding the permit that expired. Haven't renewed it. And this is 1106 Northeast 118th Street, 1106 Northeast 118th Avenue LLC. And the permit expired on February 1st, 2022. And there was, I believe, a previous case for the same thing
Yeah,
on 5/3.
February of this year. Questions?
No.
Motion?
Case number EN 22-462, maintaining construction fence with an construction fence with an expired permit. I found that violation has occurred since 2022. Sets the fine dollars. Come into compliance by August the 26th, or $20 day fine thereafter.
Well, second. So we have a first and a second for $150 fine, 8/26 compliant date, $20 daily fine after that. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, the next case is gonna be 6E1. And this was well, let me read this and
Wait a minute,
Three?
wait, give us a
Six
second.
E one,
6E1.
and I guess.
Oh,
it's-
six
yeah,
B,
because
what
I'm
happened to
gonna have
six B
questions.
three?
Oh, yes, and
No,
Oh,
has been, no, it's only 6D only had 2 cases. Right. Six,
This is Ninth Ave.
Oh, no, mine's now 5-1. Never mind, that's from the last time. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
okay.
This is
So-
what,
6E1. So
E1.
case number EN 22-0572. And this is 11031 Northeast 9th Avenue. Construction work without permit. The property owners Annabelle and Patricio Castilla. The violation continues. Case open, it was on 6/25/22. So what happened is our electrical contractor, electrical inspector comes to me and goes, this house is dangerous. Dangerous. The contractor is doing very shoddy. And I give me better pictures for the last. So that generator has no permits whatsoever. That's, we're gonna be hearing that.
'Cause I was
So-
gonna ask you if you can, and I apologize, guys, but just before we get deeper
Right.
into that, why is it separated out in 2 violations? I'm not
Because
quite
one
understanding.
was I'll tell you what. One was working without, yes.
Sorry,
yes,
sorry,
because one is-
I should not editorialize. Excuse that.
Yes, so one was construction work, electrical without permits.
wait a minute, no. I need something simple. It's the first one I'm looking at, the one we're hearing right now. It
Yes.
says, the violation was construction work without a permit. So
Yes.
what is the construction that I'm
Right there in front of you. I know the pictures came out bad, that
This
was.
pictures, because I'm looking at what's here and it's,
Right.
That's the ones he gave me, but that a generator has no permits whatsoever.
is installing a generator considered construction?
It's considered.
Well, because you gotta put that-
You gotta install it,
gotta-
you gotta, yes.
Right, you've got to either attach it, to-
Well, I understand, but is that considered
I would think so.
construction? Because to me, that's all, that's like installing
Yeah, but.
it's like installing an AC. I mean, you have an AC unit, it's just like a generator. And I just want to make sure we're citing these correctly.
It's just the wording I use, construction, because I would think installing a generator, you know.
Because you.
if
have to
we
install it
install-
on a Pad, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
to me, I would see it as construction,
If-
just put it on a pad.
Or just for argument, my AC had to have a pad the first time. Second time, my AC had to be built up, had to have
Yep,
what's,
I know.
whatever that metal thing is,
Yeah.
a stand.
Yep.
Okay. To me, that wasn't construction, even though it's drilled into my house.
so in hindsight, could have put generator without a permit,
But basically, they're both have purely only deal with electrical.
Yes.
See, that-
And
that
we
was-
have one,
But
so
we have one without a permit and one is just light safety, it's hazardous.
But I don't see how you can separate it out.
yeah,
To me.
It's all the
fact that
same thing.
Without a permit is all part of the package. I'm sorry. What's without a permit is the unsafe thing. So I'm not sure, I'm not comfortable.
They didn't get
breaking it out.
permits for, my idea was one was not even coming for permits. The other one was, the work was so bad that not only, I'm surprised that the property owners are not here, because when the electrical engineer inspector sat with them, showed them everything, because they were out of town when the contractors were doing all this. They left the house.
Well,
Okay.
This one
Could-
says one is without a permit and the other one says it's a life safety issue. So
But see,
that's
to me,
two
it's all one
different-
thing.
could I just,
Why?
Because what's being done without a permit is the
Mhm.
life safety stuff.
could I make, I offer a suggestion that we hear case number 6E2, which has to deal with no permits pulled for a generator, electrical, because with that, if they installed a generator without a permit and it has electrical, that's a life safety issue, which is all combined under one. The other one, I don't see any construction personally, but we can discuss that maybe after we
Okay, yeah.
hear this one.
I think that's a good suggestion, Dale.
That's fine.
So could we table?
Sure.
um,
All in favor of tabling 6E1 for the moment?
For the moment?
Aye.
Aye. Could you present, six?
So 6E2, that would be case number EN 220573. Property address 11031 Northeast 9th Avenue, Annabelle and Patricio Castillo. The violation of conducting unsafe construction without, just unsafe construction.
Whoa, whoa, all right, now.
Or, I'm sorry, okay,
I'm
unsafe
seeing
construction.
two different things. Now I see what you're talking about. 6E1 is the one we want to hear. But I don't think that's what presented the first time. It was unsafe.
Electrical.
Unsafe construction was presented first, and that's number 2.
So,
Yeah, let's just see, construction without a permit. All right, they're just, wait a minute, let's just look at the numbers. 572 should be, instead of on our agenda, construction without work permits, it says no permits pulled. So it's construction with no.
So yeah, right, the construction word probably needs
Yeah.
to go,
okay, so,
but no permits pulled for generator and electrical. That's the point.
and also, again, as per some pictures, the work was so shoddy, was dangerous. It was hazardous.
So is this a wall? So maybe this is where Ibrahim is thinking the construction issue dealt. Right?
And when
That's
you're,
an existing wall with electrical work
But
going on.
something is being, you're having to carve out something. It's just a little,
That's electrical.
it's just kind of a little both ways. I think they saw it. Rodolfo, did you see the pictures? I'm sorry, Rodolfo, did you see the pictures?
Yeah, we have it right here.
Okay.
All right.
a lot of work, no permits were pulled whatsoever, and the other one is just, was done so badly that it's dangerous. The property owner was actually moved out.
Okay. I think I'm safe. I think we should maybe look at, so if we can just take a break for a second, look at the two and then decide which one we're gonna go first.
Okay.
With, I mean, if you look at number 2, it actually says what I think is the major issue, and that's electrical construction or electrical work being done.
6E2.
Yeah. The other one, I'm still a, well,
I think they're really one and the same.
Mhm.
So whichever one we choose, I think they both encompass the seriousness. They're both dealing with electric.
So
And one deals with the no permits pulled. 2 doesn't mention that, so perhaps one does make more sense.
what I would like, what I would recommend is that on the first one, that it's recited as it's a generator installed without a permit.
That's
That
what I
makes
that's
sense.
what I meant.
Tomorrow, because that's the major, but the electrical thing is, appears to be cited correctly. And
So
That-
separate
say-
it out, recite 1
yes,
stating the specifics of the generator installed without a permit. So we should, at this point,
I'll make a motion on number 1.
Two.
Well, let's do number 2 first.
Okay.
Make sure we're covered.
okay.
On case number EEN 22573, unsafe construction electrical, I find that a violation did occur, and it is a life-threatening condition, life safety, assess a fine of $2,500.
2,500?
Yes. And to,
Is there a stop work order? I apologize.
Yes, it is. Yes, there is.
Wanted to confirm that.
and to Basically, that's about it, because if it's a stop work,
You stop work order, so you're not gonna have a fine or anything, you stop work order.
But they have to do a permit.
Well, that's gonna
They may
come on
not.
the other one.
You want to put out,
Pull the
yes.
Permit on the other one and put a daily fine if they don't pull the permit.
okay, we'll use that, we'll do that on the other one. Got it.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
why I was
so
stammering around.
we have a first and a second for on EN 220573. I'm sorry,
I'll second it.
$2,500 fine. And the stop work order is already in place.
Yes.
We have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Or nothing.
On,
EN 220572, construction work, or I'm sorry, a generator without a permit and other electrical on 11031 Northeast 9th Avenue, Annabelle and Patricia Castillo, property owners. The violation was observed or was advised on 6/25/2022. There's no permits pulled for generator and electrical, no permits at all so far. So, while it's complete,
I'd like to make a motion on case number EE-572 that dismissed and code officer instructed to property. All right. Dismiss as as it's for a it's improperly cited.
I'll second.
Wait, can we have discussion on this? I don't see
Yes.
why. He didn't have a permit, so why is it?
But he's not.
It's not construction. I mean, look at the citation says construction
Not-
without permits.
doing-
Permits on file do not cover construction being done. I don't see any construction. I see installation of a generator.
Right.
Like you wouldn't,
To me, that's construction.
putting in an AC is not construction. And a
Yes.
generator and AC to me are almost one and the same.
I said the same thing. You heard me earlier. No, you're putting on a pad. It's construction. But the more you think about it, you're attaching something to a pad. Like kind of putting a flagpole on a pad. You're not.
You put a flagpole
constructing.
up, that's construction.
I have to agree, Dale. I have to agree with him. I don't see it as construction.
I do.
Okay.
It's
Well,
clearly a
finish my motion
Yeah, you can finish your motion.
And find that, I say that dismiss the case and recommend that the property be cited for failure to pull a permit for installing a generator.
I'll second. We have a first and a second for dismissing the case and a recommendation that the property be recited for no permits pulled for generator installation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-1.
the next one will be 6G. 6G1, EN 220546. Property address 11643 Northeast 11th Place. This is construction and restructure on roof without any permits. The property owner is Radames Alvello. So he had been here before, or I believe it's
Efrain, I have to say, at first when I saw this, I'm thinking, well, if you re-roof, of course you have to take the roof off. How could you need a separate permit? You did a really good job providing backup to show this was not a simple re-roofing. This was true demo, and I
it was
thank you.
demo. It was
I
demo.
thank you for that. You did a very good job.
It was demo. It was a while they were
Oh, yeah.
demoing, they were constructing, and
No,
none
no.
of this was without permit.
Again, because
Plus, the, well,
at first I'm looking at it going, you did a very good job. Thank you.
so yes, so as of this date, no, I've spoken with a gentleman several times, you know, no permits have been applied for so far. And, you know, the only good thing is they haven't been back to work.
Motion?
It took me a little bit, once again, also to
Right.
look and,
Look,
because the fuzzy picture basically said it all. But
yes.
you can see the man going up through the installed rafters.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Okay.
EEN 22-0546, a violation has occurred. Assess a $100 fine, give until September 21 to come into compliance by pulling permits, which would be the double permit fee. If not, a $20 daily fine after that.
I thought construction without a permit general is a 200.
More money.
You're right. You're right. I will amend my motion. $200 fine. Compliance date remains the same at 9/21 and a daily fine of 20 if not complied by that. And the double permit fee.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Opposed?
I forgot what day. I'm sorry.
9/21. Passes 4-0.
Yes. Aye.
Same, at 6G2, case number EN 220547. Same property address, 11163 Northeast 11th Place. And this is demolition of roof without a permit. Pictures are provided in the prior case under property at owner Radames Alvelo, and the same issue 7/15/2022.
Questions? Okay. Okay. Motion in EEN 22-0547, a violation has occurred. Assess a $100 fine, give them until August 26th to pull the proper permit, double permit fee. If not, a $20 daily fine after that.
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
6G3 is case number EN 220558. Same address, 11643 Northeast 11th Place. Same property owner, Radames Alvelo, and this is for a dumpster on a property without a permit. Violation was observed 7/27/2022. There was a previous case on the same property at 7/6/2022. No permits have been obtained, and it still actually continues to be on the property.
Now, the previous case, was that a courtesy or a notice of violation?
That was a notice of violation.
Did you hear that case?
I believe it was.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. it.
I don't remember it either, and I.
Yeah,
didn't
we
see
would have
but
heard it.
If we
Wait
have,
a minute, I've got the minutes because we would have heard it in July.
well, we also have pictures from 7/6, and this is cited on 7/27. So it seems to be ongoing.
Yes, and actually, and it's still continues to be on the property. It's never
No,
been
we didn't hear it in
removed.
July, but
Hasn't been removed, it's still there.
And
No permits have been obtained.
questions? I'd make a motion on case number EN 22-558 that a violation did occur, assess a fine of $100, and come into compliance by August. Have a permit pulled by August the 26th, or a daily fine of $25.
I'll second. We have a first and a second for $100 fine, 826 compliance date, or a $25 daily. All in favor?
It's with a double permit fee, right?
Yes, ma'am. All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. That gets us to
Liens.
the liens.
Yeah, that was G.
What happened to G3?
Oh, I know.
So,
I'm wondering, you guys, since Mario's had a long day and he has a long week, he's probably wanting to go over 8-4 with us. Should we,
Sure.
would anybody mind
Sure,
if we
no.
did that first?
Which one are we gonna
I mean, it's only fair to you. You know, you've got a long day again tomorrow.
we doing?
8.
He's gonna do 8-4, right, Mario?
Eight, yes.
8, no,
Eight-
7.
There's no eight.
8A or 8B?
No, I'm sorry, the,
Under discussion.
The discussion items for the roof and property maintenance. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and board members. 1, 2, okay. I believe these are actually the same item. It came from my office and the clerk's office, and it appeared to be 2 different things, but it's actually the same thing. And so Commissioner Hammelberg at a previous commission meeting requested that the commission start taking up the idea of what can be done when a property has a tarp on the roof for extended period of time. Legal advised that for that specific, there's really nothing that you can do because there's a lot of mitigating circumstances that a property owner could face. However, there is a way within our code to tighten up the property maintenance section of our code. And so what was provided is the recommendation from legal. We know how code works. We do courtesy notices, we give them a time to comply, and we go into violation and so forth. And so although we can't say you can only have a tarp on your roof for three weeks or 2 months, right? We can essentially indicate that having a tarp on the roof means that the roof is in disrepair, that it's not waterproof, and so forth, causing leaks and all that kind of stuff. And so in that case, the damaged roof, as evident by a tarp on it, is in violation of the code, right? And so the recommendation that is before you tightens up that language and gives the village more teeth to the code to be able to have that as evidence and to be used. Now,
I'm sorry, page 3, letter F.
yeah, strike through is what's to be eliminated, underline is to be added, everything else is existing code. And so instead of the commission going straight into it, it was advised to have both the planning and the code, because it would be amending planning because it amends the land development code. But having you all kind of take a look at it and give your recommendations as well. Planning kind of kicked the can over to you all to consider before they take a look at anything. I did go back after some comments that we had with planning and spoke to legal. There's no real way within the code to say if you have a tarp, you're in violation because your roof is not in the proper condition. However, you have X amount of time frame, right? Because it's going to be a violation of the property of maintaining the property. And so the idea is that the tarp itself is the evidence that the roof is in disrepair. Now, and I'll get to you, Dale. I just want to finish my thought before I forget. And it's been a very long week, 30 hours basically. So And so from there, it then becomes the discretion of the code officer as to when that is being enforced and when it's not. In the middle of a dry season in July where we haven't had any storms and we have roofs that have tarps in it, there might be an issue. A week after a hurricane, that might not be the issue as everyone's kind of going through that process for recovery. So it becomes at the discretion of the code officer when that or any of their codes are enforced, right? And so with that, that's why it's important to state what the process from our staff, at least that I've given direction. I've always come in with the idea of compliance and trying to work with our residents before coming with a heavy hand if we have that opportunity. In some cases, we don't have a choice, right? The residents take that out of our hands. But if we can work with the residents before just coming with a heavy hand or a hammer of a violation, then I tend to kind of prefer to try to work that way. So that's essentially what's before you. I hope I didn't butcher the commissioner's idea of how to address it. And Dale, you had a question. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Not really a question, a comment. I mean, we've had many of these cases come before us, such as this. Some of them have been on there due to residents having not complied, period, not taking any action, and we ruled on those accordingly. And then we've had the residents who have come and provided documentation where they're currently working with the insurance companies, and it's an ongoing process. And, you know, we've extended time. And mainly all we have ever asked for the code is to bring the cases before us. And that way it sets timelines for the residents. The residents are able to communicate. Those who have taken no action, but I had a leak during our rainy season last year, and I put a tarp on so that I wouldn't continue, but then they haven't done anything, and it's 6 months later. You know, we ask questions. So up until this point, I don't see where we've had an issue, but it has to deal with if people are being cited, if there's a tarp up and a courtesy notice, it's basically with the communication with the resident. And if a courtesy notice is given and then no response or there's nothing provided, cite accordingly and then bring it for us, and the resident can actually.
Yeah, in the time I've been on the board, the time I've been on the board, we've heard one tarp case. So it's a matter of, we can't deal with it if those cases aren't coming in front of us.
Right.
I personally like the wording in F. I think it hits it just fine. But I want to confirm, it's still like everything else. The code officer has the power of discretion.
Right.
He can set a timeline. If that timeline doesn't work, because I know so often people say, "But I need more time," and come back and ask for it. Because if you set too broad a timeline, we end up like we've seen lately, tarps on there for 2 years. So,
right, and I think the intent is to try to strengthen the code so that it becomes even clearer within the code that the 2-year window for tarp is really not going to be so.
F I take it is new because it's under.
Correct. Everything underlined is new language. Everything stricken through is
Obviously
to
speaking
remove.
only for me, I like the way F is phrased. But that really becomes the key. It goes down to look, it always does, enforcement.
Right.
You know, bring the cases in front of us. Let's hear the story, but let's at least get those cases in front of us because it has gotten out of control. I mean, that's become new roofing material. What do you guys think? Rodolfo?
Well, I'm using myself as an example, since I had a roof leak recently. And it was on a weekend. I put a tarp on it because the water was pouring into my house. And it took me 2.5 months to get my permit.
Oh, I know.
And
I just
that
had a
tarp
re-roof, you
remained
know.
up there that 2.5 months. And I would have been very upset if I had been cited by code during that time.
But that they don't know that you're having a roof contractor problem if they don't come to you.
I didn't have a roof contractor problem. I had a
I'm
Biscayne
okay,
Park
I'm sorry,
problem.
I'm sorry. never took that long either. Mine this time, oh my God.
Well, no, my
Same.
understanding is that, there would be a conversation. I mean, it's like, hey, you have a roof on,
I
what's
told
going on?
Mark
A
Friday
courtesy.
that I had a tarp
We
on
have
You were
to-
proactive. I mean, you.
We have to be held to the same standards, if not higher, than
My-
everybody else.
Yeah,
I mean,
my
you-
point being is that if it's been, you're not gonna be cited probably for the first day or so. If it's been up there and it seems to be spinning for a while, so if yours was 2 months and 2 months has gone by, and if you've already applied for a permit, I mean, you've already taken action. I mean, you're working through it, and even if it's if you were cited, you're going, like we had the case that came before us with an insurance issue a month or two ago.
Okay, then I'm
It
all right with
was documented that he was it's the issue with the insurance company. And we gave a time frame. I believe they're supposed to come back next month. They gave them 2 months to give us an update with the insurance company, because we want to know, try to get a handle on when might we see this come to fruition, and outcome with the insurance company, something, and he was to bring something from the insurance company also.
You who were working with the city right away, because you're not gonna let anything happen to your house. You have all the documentation. It's, you go down so many, I'm sorry, it's become the new roofing material. Like, we're good, just put the blue stuff up there. So we've got to give
Oh, you-
code
but you
officers
are-
some teeth.
Well, that's the thing, and I want to speak on my behalf, that there
You can
are
do that.
major eyesores.
Yes.
And believe me, to pass one and I see it out, I know almost every house. So the problem is that the code didn't have. the
Yeah,
teeth.
because I pulled the regular, current 8.4 or whatever it is, and yeah, this is way better, way
So,
more.
yes, so gives me something, time frame, all that stuff, and I will do, 30 in the next couple of days if I could.
Can I ask? I'm sorry, Judy.
Yeah, so just for the record, the question was, why is it taking so long for a permit? It's the process within Biscayne Park. In order for any exterior work to get permitted, it's got to go before planning and zoning. And so if there's any comments or anything, and I don't know the particular of any one individual case, but if there's any comments or anything, then that would get kicked back. It would have to be reworked, or they would have to address the comments and then come back. Planning and zoning meets once every 2 weeks. So that right there would already take some additional. Once that is done, then once they approve it, then it's got to go through the plan reviews from the actual plan reviewers and the licensed individuals. As everybody knows, we have part-time employees that do that, so that can take anywhere for a couple weeks. Once that goes through all the various, for a roof, I'm assuming it's going to be structural and building has to go. So that's 2 plan reviewers. Once that is done, then it's got to be feed. And so, yeah, it could literally take, in other cities, it's professional staff that does all the plan review to make sure it meets the code and stuff like that. Then it goes to the building officials to do their plan review. And in some places you can have a permit within 2 weeks, but that's not the process that's established here. I'm just telling you what we're going through now. I don't know what happened in 05.
2005, but we finished our meeting.
We had a different
Well,
process then.
Not only is it a different process now, but I think this is one of the good news, bad news things. Everybody's doing a whole lot more construction.
Yeah.
So it's keeping everybody a lot busier. And look, I got a simple, well, I got approved for a simple permit last week for railings on my front porch. You'd think I should have had it by Friday. Nah, I knew better. It'll get there when it gets there, because I realize everybody's
Yeah,
doing.
we're
good stuff.
processing about close to 400 permits a year.
Sorry?
About 400 permits a year.
I mean,
May I ask with regards to this, what are you looking for us for this tonight?
Either recommendations for changes or support for those changes, so that we can then go back to
we have
planning and zoning
consensus
and
on
then
any
to the commission.
changes, any, like, different stricken, added.
I didn't really know why it was here. Because whenever I looked on the agenda, it just said discussion. I'm going, okay, well, we'll get a discussion in it and I'll find out more information.
So if it's fine, you all can consider it and maybe at a later meeting, bring it back as a voting item
I
for,
think
to
you
either
guys are
approve it.
Doing this in September, no?
It's not an emergency situation. We can push it back so that you have plenty of time to review and make a voting item.
Would you rather us bring it up again in September?
I don't have a problem just, I mean, I can go ahead and say, grocery, right? It's a unit, I mean, 'cause I can always email if I had any other discussion.
Yeah, you want to just give your comments to Mario on your own?
Right now, I mean, it looks pretty good.
I will say personally, I'm very comfortable with it. I think they've done a nice job. I get, hearing from Ibrahim, I think it's very workable and it puts us in a better direction.
Us and gives us something
work
to at
for you,
least look
Ibrahim.
at it. Oh, definitely. It doesn't seem like it stops our process from just bringing the cases before. us.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. Just like you pointed out, it really is a matter of enforcement first.
that's fine.
Rodolfo?
I think we're fine because there are different issues on that roofing. Different issues. I don't see, I think I'm comfortable with what we have.
Mario, thank you. I know it's been a very long week and it hasn't ended yet.
Can, just for formality's sake, can it then be, if there's no changes being recommended, can it be a more of a formal
We
vote?
say consensus, we're fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
And again,
where's
thank
that
you.
vote?
I know it's been a long week.
Next time, Mario, raise your hand, say, listen, guys, can I be heard?
I mean, I personally think they did good.
I thought you were just.
I'll be anxious to hear what P and Z had to say. P and Z, did they have, on this, did they have changes? Right. It didn't sound like they had much either. Yeah. How kind of them.
Huh?
Whatever you want. Me, I just,
Well-
it was easy.
I mean, I will admit, in some cases, the people, you can kind of like,
Right,
make
yeah,
notes, I can do things. On the other hand, I'm running out of room.
So we still have a.
We
few
still have
minutes.
a
we
few
still
items.
have
There's three just discussion for liens. Try to, put in how much they owe. So I don't know, you wanna go under, let's go on the 7-1.
Mhm.
At 971 Northeast 113th Street, we have, I don't wanna read all of them, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically, they're not all of them because like EEN 22, there were 534, that was for the flagpole, flag thing, and didn't really have nothing to do. I just added all the EENs, but it doesn't pertain to.
So the only two that pertain to the lien are the two we have,
Yes.
89 and.
Because there are other, and I shouldn't do that, there are other cases that I've issued citations for, but they haven't been heard. And there's not
Okay, yeah,
been
no,
all that
no
stuff.
wonder they weren't there, okay.
Right.
Alright.
So,
Uh,
technically, right now, it's,
a little over seven-
EEN
7,200.
210229, and I am surprised that they're not here either. EEN 2102 250.
What, we send them notice that we're gonna discuss it
No,
following
we
week?
send them intent.
Yeah, but they don't necessarily know where it's
No,
putting, yeah, so
No.
I was gonna say, why would
Yeah,
they show
they'll send-
up?
You're right.
They're not notified to show up, so.
My motion would be to file the intent to lien letter.
I'll
Second,
Linda seconds.
for all, can we put all three of them together? Cause I think.
Yes.
Works for me.
Send intent lien
I would
letters to all
say
three
intent to
properties.
lien letter on items 7.1, 3, and 4. Because we tabled 2 till September.
So the next one will be seven.
We're done.
No, we're done.
Oh, no, you're done?
We just voted through all three of them.
Because if
Beautiful.
they've gotten to the point where you are coming back asking for an intent to lien letter, there's got to be a reason. And there's a significant amount of money that's outstanding for way too long. And
Seconded.
you've
Jamie. Jamie
got to
first.
show the seriousness. I know it's been a long day, you guys. We talk about just 2 things, you mind?
Yeah.
Funny, Fahim, if you remember, I had asked if you would please include the notice to appear in all the backup. Because that's what gives us like the, not citation number, sorry, ordinance number, et cetera. Now, here's kind of a,
I'm sorry, Jay, you want a copy of the,
notice to appear, that he should include that. Cited them under. The notice of violation doesn't always have. that. Now. Please. Thank
okay.
you. Thank you.
What else?
I wanna take a quick, really Lizzie, but a new employee. Mr. Rafael Gutierrez.
Gee, like we don't know you. Hi, guy.
Get something else?
Yes, I
That
had
is
one
really
other
gonna
thing.
be
The
your
new
right
Lizzie,
hand.
the new Lizzie, but we won't, we promise not to call him that. I don't know if all of you had the chance to go through when Ephraim gave us a significant amount of documentation when we heard the 121st Street case back in June. The next day I went through it and there are what appear to be 9 open notices of violation.
So there was that property.
Yes, yes.
That
Agreed.
really decided to get put every together.
No, that's 119th Street. I'm talking about 100.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I
I'm
was
sorry.
thinking, wait a minute. Okay. I apologize, folks. Now, when we got this back in June.
Still at 120.
Yeah, the red structure.
when we got this back
Like 9.
There's 9 open notices. What, in your opinion, should we do? These appear to be open.
Oh, ultimately, honest. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, having met with the engineer, and I actually met with the owner, happened to pass by. Lady was there.
We're not
and I
talking
just-
about, we're talking about apples and oranges. We're talking about 121st Street.
Yes.
The bee house.
Not
as
the-
Everybody calls it.
That's not the bee house.
No.
So that's when you said 121st Street. I thought you were
I'm
talking
sorry.
about this
No,
one.
ma'am.
You're talking about the bee house then. That's 8,
All right.
826,
826, 121st.
121st.
Right, that's what I said, the-
Yes, that one.
Misunderstood. I thought you were
Okay,
talking about this
so
one.
I met, she has a lot of bad taste in her mouth previous. That I cannot move forward looking back. So, seriously, her main thing is fixing the house. Because that was like, something. So, he's very serious about moving forward. She has an engineer, she has an architect, everybody on. So to me, I said, okay, show good faith. I want you, you need to pay everything. Everything so far, everything that's pending in order to move forward. That's what I did. And they actually said, okay, just give us what we owe and we'll take care of it. So by that, and then coming with the, that's why they actually believe coming before here was the first step, even though. Second. Right, exactly. So my opinion, this is my professional opinion, or with my letter, just allow them, okay. I'm gonna give them everything that they owe, take care of that, and go before PNC.
My opinion too is we dropped the ball on those 9 cases, drag them out now. We're trying to get these people to go into a good faith work with us. It's kind of foolish. But from a legal perspective, do we need to dismiss them? Do we need to do anything?
I believe,
No, I think
no,
we should
because
pay for
property
them.
is.
Just leave it. Yeah, but these are open cases. I'd like to know from legal, can we just leave them open or do we have to?
Well, if they pay the
Yeah,
citations
but
and the
there's no
violation.
citations. They're open. These are open cases. We've never.
Give us
heard.
an example of one. Because my thinking is that if they're starting to work on it now and it's an open thing and they have all these other things, if they're coming to compliance
It's
with all
over,
of them, because it's going, well, it's going to be, if it's going to be basically a property redo, it's going to be taken care of.
Exactly.
And
Well,
then
right
at that
now,
point, it would just
technically, other
becomes,
than a shoddy, you know, whatever
I agree.
appearance,
I'm just wondering.
just.
property overgrown grass. I
Right.
mean,
I mean,
at
most of
this-
them
That's
are-
done, that's done.
I was going to say,
Most of them you will find are irrelevant. at this point.
The biggest issue is the unsafe
Well,
structure.
then why can't they just pay the irrelevant one? $25 and $50 on the one.
it's no fines.
There's
Yeah,
no
there's
fines
nothing
there?
in it. Because we're noticing.
Right, the problem is that what others did, or they did incorrect.
I'm just saying so that we close the book on it. Hope you're- Mistake, but then I'll put that on.
A lot of these seems to be, a lot of these seem to be, falling into what's already being
Exactly.
done. I mean, we've already, it's just like a repeat of something we've already assessed a fine on. It's just that they're outstanding, and once they, if they comply with the rest of them, then these, we can always say that have been, you know, basically addressed in previous.
I just, No,
Yeah,
we know.
we are
We
aware.
know. But no, so the only reason I'm.
Yeah.
Figure, I always think of everything that's a legality. Some sort of closure to it, whatever that closure
Well,
is.
how about we see where they go with it and then make a decision?
Well, that's what I was thinking, is that it might be a little premature right now, because if they don't move forward, then we can go have additional cases to be heard.
Hear all the rest of them.
If they do move forward and start taking care of all these issues, then the issue's been resolved, and some of those in there are just almost repeats.
That's why I sort of pulled back on the branding motion that I had made 2 months ago. To say, Z.
Yeah.
Get a move on. Take that first baby step. Get there.
We need a motion to amend. I mean, to adjourn.
A second. I'm sorry, we have the date for our next meeting.
Meeting September
28th.